So when talking about rocket jumping, there's two main types of rocket jumping you're going to see. There's going to be rocket jumping for height and rocket jumping for distance or speed. The first one we'll go over here is rocket jumping for height, and this is the one you're going to see about 90% of the time. Outside of game types like Clan Arena or other team modes where self-damage is turned off, you aren't really going to see a ton of people chaining rocket jumps together, mainly just because each rocket jump costs about 50 health. So it's not really very economic to do in a game type where you do take self-damage. However, there are times where you need to get somewhere fast, and a rocket jump is the only way to do it. So first off, when it comes to rocket jumping for height, there's two ways you can go about it. There's the first way, which is just shoot your feet and fire a rocket. Pretty self-explanatory. This doesn't take you as high as a full rocket jump, but the thing is, the higher you jump, naturally the easier a target you are to hit, because there's not a ton of air control in Quake 3. So if there's a jump you need to get to that's too high for a jump, but not so high that you need to do a full rocket jump for it, oftentimes just looking at the ground and shooting up will take you up to it just fine. Places like the grenade launcher to red armor on Blood Run are places you'll see this done pretty commonly. The second type of rocket jump for height you'll do is a full rocket jump, where all you have to do is look at the ground, jump, and then shoot at the exact same time you jump, and if done right, you should be able to make it up to heights about as high as this ledge. This is a map called Overkill. I can put it in the description below. It's a pretty good map for practicing rocket jump type stuff. However, you can also practice this on Deathmatch 6 by standing down where the red armor spawns and then jumping up the bridge. And if done right, should be able to make it up to the bridge from red armor. Remember, all you got to do is look at the ground, jump, and shoot at the same time, like this. And, you know, you can do that while running. Jump, shoot at the exact same time. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy to do. I fucked it up right there. But, you know, and that's all you gotta do to get a full rocket jump. There is one more trick you can do with rocket jump for height, and that is combining it with jump pads to send yourself really, really high. So for example, I want to get up to that window up there, but I can't really get up there from right here. Jump pad doesn't take me up there, rocket jump doesn't take me up there. But if you shoot the ground of the jump pad right when you step on the jump pad, you can actually use the jump pad and the rocket jump in combination to fling yourself up to ridiculously high heights like this. That can be a bit tricky to time though, so you can always step on the jump pad if there's a wall nearby, fire off of the wall to pop yourself up like that. Or you can jump along on the back, pop yourself up when you're higher on the wall. So the second type of rocket jumping we'll talk about is rocket jumping for speed. Whereas with rocket jumping for height, we wanted to maximize our vertical height. With rocket jumping for speed, we want to minimize our vertical height and just try to go horizontally as fast as we can, using the propulsion of the rocket to give us a lot of speed. And naturally, the level 1 way of doing this is just by looking at the ground and firing, but aiming further back a bit, and naturally the blast of the rocket will push you back. You kind of start running, do that, and you get about 500 ups. But you still get a bit of height. And the further away you fire the rocket to get less height, the less speed you're going to get out of it. So about 500 ups is a pretty good balance between height and speed, but fire it a little bit further and you'll probably only go up to like 400 ups, which is kind of meh. Like at that point, it might as well just be a circle jump in my opinion. But it is a good burst of speed. However, if we have a wall, that changes things completely. So rather than firing off of a wall like this, because that's basically about just as effective as firing the rocket behind us, we're going to aim at a wall and fire ourselves into the ground after jumping. Remember when I talked about in the strafe jump video, if you're airborne, you won't lose any speed. So we're going to use that to fire ourselves into the ground, jump again immediately, and maintain all of that speed through the jump. Now you might be saying, well, that's going to be difficult to do, because how am I supposed to jump and then time my next jump right when I land? And the way you're going to be doing that is with the buffer window that the jumping in Quake gives you. If you just hold the spacebar, notice you won't keep jumping. But if you jump, release, and then re-hold the spacebar, you will jump again the second you touch the ground. So if you just keep releasing and holding the spacebar like this, you'll just keep jumping forever, literally the second you touch the ground. And you can do this from any height. You can go off a jump pad, hold the spacebar, keep jumping like this. Or we're going to fall off a really huge height. Doesn't matter. Keep holding the spacebar after releasing it, and you will jump the second you touch the ground. And using that, it makes it really, really, really easy to time your rocket jumps off of a wall for speed, because it doesn't matter how fast you fire yourself into the ground, as long as you release and hold again, you'll still jump the second you hit the ground. And then you can carry that speed all the way through. Again, I think Overkill is a really good map for practicing this, because you have this nice long straight wall to work with, and you can practice staying on this high ground, because if you do it a little bit too far out, see how I'll just like go flying out? If there wasn't that wall there, I would go off the edge. So you can use this map in this straightaway here to kind of practice rocket jumping for speed without losing control and flying off into the void, like that. Another good place that you can practice this is once you've kind of gotten used to doing it here on Overkill, you can go back over to Deathmatch 6 and try jumping from bridge all the way to pillars using a rocket jump. You'll use a rocket jump to push yourself off the wall, fly through the rocket section of the map, through that doorway into the pillar room, and then you rocket jump again to send yourself across pillars. And done right, you should be able to carry about 600 units per second all the way through that jump, and in doing that, you can carry a lot of speed and traverse the map very, very, very quickly. And again, I'll just go through it one more time. When you're going for these rocket jumps, you want to aim up into the wall so that you get fired down into the floor, jump again. And when I'm going for these rocket jumps, I tend not to hold WD into the wall or WA into the wall. I tend to just hold my strafe key and strafe along the wall like this. I don't hold WD, WA, just strafe into the wall with your A key or your D key, and then when you want to go, jump and fire yourself in, and then turn yourself around and start going for your strafe jump. A into the wall, A to strafe into the wall, get your 800 ups, convert that into a strafe jump. So the last thing I'll talk about is plasma climbing. Plasma climbing is very similar to rocket jumping, but just on a much smaller scale because you're using plasma. When you fire a bolt of plasma, the bolt does have a slight amount of splash damage. So you can use that splash damage to propel yourself without doing as much damage to yourself as a rocket would do, but also on a much smaller effect. Just like you can aim at the ground with a rocket and jump and shoot to go high, you can aim at the ground with plasma and jump and shoot to go slightly higher. And you'll see this done on maps like Fata Morgana, where there are certain jumps that are just barely low enough that you can't make it with a normal jump, but you can make it with a plasma jump. And by using a plasma jump, you can reduce a lot of the damage you do to yourself that you would otherwise need to rocket jump for. The second part of plasma climbing, other than just plasma jumping, is the plasma climb itself, which is you go over to a wall like this, right? And you don't want to aim down here at like 45 degrees because you'll kind of push yourself off the wall, but you don't want to aim at 90 because then you have nothing to climb off of. The goal of a plasma climb is to shoot the wall and have the blast damage from the plasma push you all the way up the wall. So you generally want to aim kind of down here, more than 45 degrees, but less than 90 degrees, somewhere probably between like 75, 70 degrees, I would guess. And just hold forward into the wall, jump and shoot at the same time. And if done right, you should be able to make it to the top. If you start to get pushed off the wall, then your angle is too shallow, and if you don't climb up the wall enough, your angle is too steep. So you need to find that perfect space. As you can see right there, my angle's too shallow, so I get pushed off, aim a little lower, and there you go. Now you can climb right up the wall. You can even do this at an angle on certain maps to get up to certain armors to, again, reduce rocket splash damage that you would otherwise need to take to get to things.